Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like we've got a few people missing here today, Senator. I mean, I've got my two favorite right here from Southwest Georgia, right here. Y'all the only one, Southwest Georgia folks, only ones ready to work, aren't they? So, I know you are. I know you are. All right, well, we'll be ready to come to order as soon as the rest of everybody else decides to come to work today, Senator. Good afternoon, Senator. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Sorry I was delayed. I had some tricky names on here. I had to make sure I was saying them right.
All right.
Did you have a good weekend?
I had a wonderful weekend, Senator.
Good.
I hope you did as well.
I did too.
Some good-looking pages you got back there.
We got some great pages today. I'm excited.
Introduce them to us. So.
Oh, we don't have a whole lot of work for them today, but we'll figure out something. All right, out of Ackworth, we have Namas V. Bott. From Jefferson, we have Connor Brewer. From Homerville, we have John Michael and his sister Maddie Corson. Out of Auburn, we have twins, or no, they're not twins. We have sisters Berkeley and Emsley Dixon. From Sonoy, my home county, we have Liam Feta. From Dallas, we have Grant Harmon. From Dawsonville, Abigail Harrett. From Snellville, Maddox Layson. From Houston, we have Caleb Leslie. From Decatur, Samani Punoli. I think I got that right, didn't I? Where is she? I got it right, didn't I? All right, just making sure. From Lawrenceville, Timothy Reed. From Wrightsville, Christiane Reese. From Brookhaven, Jack Robinson. From Jefferson, Tyler Roy. From Sewanee, Grahitha Saravana Kumar. I got that right too, didn't I? I just had to say it slow. From Valdosta, Sawyer Stevens. From Atlanta, here's our twins, Michael and Paige Thomas. From Milledgeville, Morgan Thompson. And from Cedartown, we have the granddaughter of our Capitol Police, Butch Thornton, his granddaughter, Laken Thornton. From Atlanta, we have Nala Washington. And from Alpharetta, we have Sophia Zahn. Y'all give these pages a big round of applause. We appreciate you being here to serve the great people of the great state of Georgia. Mr. President, this journal is mighty thick, but it has been found to be correct. So I move we dispense with the reading of the journal.
Thank you, Senator. Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? The chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none. The journal is confirmed. All bills, senators who have bills and resolutions to have introduced, please bring them Secretary's desk at this time. First reading references to Senate bills. Secretary?
Senate Resolution 921 by Senators Watson of the First and others, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. Kevin Catfish.
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 922 by Senators Howard of the 35th and others, a resolution congratulating the Campbell High School boys soccer team. Senate Resolution 924 by Senators Halpern of the 39th and others, a resolution recognizing black maternal health statistics and for other purposes. Senate Resolution 920.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Resolution 925 by Senators Halpern of the 39th and others, a resolution creating the Senate Study Committee on a Museum of African American History and Culture of Georgia and for other purposes.
Rules.
Senate Resolution 927 by Senators Hatchett of the 50th and others, a resolution
Health and
creating
Human Services.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
First reading references the House bills.
House Bill 275 by Representatives Williamson of the 112th and
Finance.
others. House Bill 334 by Representatives Crawford of the 89th
Health and Human
others.
Services.
House Bill 382 by Representative Stevens of the
Health and
160th.
Human Services.
House Bill 421 by Representatives Taylor of the 173rd.
Judiciary.
House Bill 547 by Representatives Cannon of the 100th.
Finance.
House Bill 641 by Representatives Williams of the
Regulated
90th.
industries.
House Bill 668 by Representatives Thomas
Public
of the 21st.
safety.
House Bill 717 by Representatives Cooper of the
Health and
45th.
Human Services.
House Bill 874 by Representatives Huddleston of the
Finance.
7th. House Bill 880 by Representatives Blackman of the 146th. House Bill 892 by Representatives Holcomb of the 101st.
Regulated
and-
industries.
House Bill 947 by Representatives Momtahan of the 17th and others.
Agriculture.
House Bill 951 by Representatives Clark of the 100th.
Insurance and labor.
House Bill 1112 by Representatives Barrett of the 24th and
Finance.
others. House Bill 1114 by Representatives Yurda of the 100th.
Education and youth.
House Bill 1116 by Representatives Blackman of the
Finance.
100th. House Bill 1122 by Representatives Douglas of the 78th.
Insurance and
and
labor.
House Bill 1132 by Representatives Franklin of the 160th and others.
Finance.
House Bill 1142 by Representatives Hagan of the
Judiciary.
House Bill 1166 by Representatives
State and
Ha-
local governments.
House
General.
Bill 1208 by Representatives Gunter of the 8th and others.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1254 by Representatives Reeves.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 1261 by Representatives Huddleston.
Finance.
House Bill 1283 by Representatives Panich of the 51st and others.
Public safety.
House Bill 1285 by Representatives Chogus.
Finance.
House Bill 1293 by Representatives Jones of the 47th and others.
Education and youth.
House Bill 1328 by Representatives Wade of the 9th and
Higher
others.
education.
House Bill 1345 by
Higher
Representatives.
education.
House Bill 1409 by Representatives
Public
Camp-
safety.
House Bill 1413 by Representatives Martin of the 49th and others. Bill to be
Higher
entitled.
education.
House Bill 1415 by Representatives
Government
Seabuck.
oversight.
House Bill 1434 by Representatives Jenkins.
Transportation.
House Bill 1465 by Representatives
Public
McCall.
safety.
House Bill 1470 by Representatives Keller.
Judiciary.
House Resolution 1000 by Representatives Efstration of the 104th and others.
Finance.
House Resolution 1300.
Transportation.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
Secretary read bills and resolutions for a second time.
House Bill 1020 by Representative Reeves of the 99th and others. Judicial Retirement System, payment of monthly retirement benefits for creditable service as a district attorney at the age of 65 years. Provide. Mr. President, that completes the order.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Recognize Senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 37th and the 55th.
Without objection, senators from 37th and the 55th are excused. Any other motions to excuse? All right, Secretary will call the roll. Senators, signify your presence by voting the yay switch. Secretary will unlock the machine.
It is now time for the morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease all conversation. I'll ask the doorkeepers to secure the chamber at this time. I now recognize the senator from the 17th District for the purpose of leading the pledges and introducing the chaplain of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Georgia flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage.
Good morning. I am so honored to introduce our chaplain for today. Reverend Belinda McCassell is an ordained elder in full connection in the United Methodist Church and is currently the senior pastor of the Wesley Chapel Methodist Church in McDonough, Georgia. She earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communication from Augusta State University, a Master of Divinity from Gammon Theological Seminary at the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta, a certificate in executive leadership from McCormick Theological Seminary in Chicago, Illinois, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in ministry from San Francisco Theological Seminary, where she is engaged in advanced studies in trauma and spiritual care. She is truly concerned with people being their best in all aspects of life. Pastor McCassell has a profound compassion for the sick, the shut-in, and the less fortunate. She is an anointed teacher, preacher, dedicated community servant, and skilled spiritual counselor. Pastor McCassell is also a certified peace officer and faithfully served the Fayette County community with integrity and honor for 21 years before retiring at the rank of lieutenant with the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. She is a native of Fayetteville, Georgia, and is married to Thaddeus McCassell, and they are the proud parents of 3 amazing daughters, Angel, Megan, and Mariah. And the granddaughter, Heaven, is the apple of their eye. She serves out of the box and has learned to live and lead outside of her comfort zone as she walks by faith and not by sight. Her Christian philosophy is, only what you do for Christ will last. Please welcome this phenomenal leader, teacher, and preacher, Reverend Belinda McCassell.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Senator Davenport, and distinguished members of the Senate. It is truly an honor to be with you this afternoon, and I want to thank some parishioners of mine for coming with me this afternoon. My husband is currently in urgent care, and certainly I want to thank the Mayor of Forest Park, Mayor Gwen Ellison, for being with us today. As you prepare for this work that lies ahead today, the discussions, the decisions, and the responsibilities that come with public service, may I invite you to pause with me for a brief moment of reflection drawn from the book of Amos. There's a story told about a farmer who owned land that depended on a small stream that ran through his property. For years, that stream watered his crops and nourished the soil. But one season, the farmer noticed something was wrong. His crops began to dry up, the ground hardened, and the land that once produced life began to struggle. So the farmer walked upstream to find the problem, and as he moved forward along the bank, he discovered that branches, rocks, and debris had built up over time, blocking the flow of the water. The stream had not dried of its source, it had simply been obstructed along the way. The farmer began clearing away what had blocked the current, one branch at a time, one stone at a time. And once the water began to flow again, the land was restored. The soil softened, the crops revived, and life returned to the field. That image helps us understand the powerful words spoken in the prophet of Amos. In the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 24, the prophet declared, "But let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream." Amos spoke these words to a nation that was very religious. The people, they gathered for worship. They honored their traditions and observed their ceremonies. Yet at the same time, the poor were being mistreated. The vulnerable were overlooked, and fairness in the courts had begun to erode. So God raised up Amos to speak a prophetic word, not to condemn the nation, but to call it back to its higher purpose. The message was clear. What God desires is not simply ritual, but righteousness. Not simple words, but justice lived out in everyday life. That is why Amos used the image of water. When water flows, it nourishes everything around it. It brings life to the land, but when the flow is blocked, when justice is obstructed, when compassion is absent, when integrity weakens, the health of the whole community is affected. Leadership carries tremendous responsibility in how that current flows. The work done in the Senate touches communities across cities, touches community across towns and rural areas throughout the state of Georgia. And those communities reflect the rich diversity of our state. People from different backgrounds, people from different experiences and cultures and perspectives. Yet diversity, when guided by unity and integrity, becomes strength. Unity does not mean that everyone sees every issue the same way. In a body such as this, thoughtful debate and different perspectives are a part of the process of leadership. But unity reminds us that beyond those differences, there is a shared commitment to serve the people, to pursue fairness, and to work together for the common good. Integrity is what sustains that commitment. Integrity ensures that decisions are guided not by influence or pressure, but by conscience and responsibility. The prophet Amos reminds us that justice should not trickle slowly, but it should roll down like the waters. Righteousness should not appear occasionally, but it should flow like a mighty stream. In other words, justice should not be rare, it should be constant. Because when justice flows, communities flourish. When integrity guides leadership, trust grows stronger. And when people of diverse perspectives work together in unity, the entire state is strengthened. The prophetic voice of Amos still speaks across the centuries, reminding leaders everywhere that their work has the power to shape the well-being of a people. So as you carry out the work of the Senate today, may justice continue to flow, may unity strengthen your collaboration, and may diversity enrich your understanding. And may integrity guide every decision that is made on behalf of the people that you serve. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, would you rise and join me in prayer? God of wisdom and justice, I pray that you guide the leaders of the Senate today and grant them clarity in their decisions, unity in their purpose, and integrity in their service. Help them lead with wisdom, listen with humility, and seek what is good for all people across this great state. May justice roll down through their work, and may righteousness flow like a mighty stream in the life of this nation. And God, I pray that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name I do pray. Amen.
That was excellent. Thank you very much. All right, it's time for introduce our Doctor of the Day. If I could get the Senate's attention, please. We're going to introduce the Doctor of the Day. Doorkeepers will lock the doors. All unauthorized personnel will exit the chamber. All right, Senators, let's get on with it. We got off to a slow start, but we're going to introduce the Doctor of the Day, and I need your attention, please. I want to also, once again, thank Nurse Julia Mack for looking after us on a daily basis. Thank you, Julia. We appreciate you. There's been a good bit of sickness going around. So I'm going to call on the Senator from the 13th to introduce our Doctor of the Day. Give her your attention, please.
He's actually not, he's standing wandering around, so how about the 32nd? I'm happy to introduce him. He's
Yes,
like,
sorry. Senator from the 32nd will introduce our Doctor of the Day. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Hello, everybody. I want to introduce you to one of my fellow orthopedic surgeons, Dr. Kyle Fleck from Valdosta, and he earned his medical degree from Mercer University in Macon, followed with orthopedic residency training at the University of Florida in Jacksonville, and a fellowship in sports medicine in Jackson, Mississippi. He's board certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgery. He does shoulder, elbows, and knees, in particular, including total joint arthroplasty. And he has special expertise in all sports medicine injuries, as well as non-surgical interventions. So please help me welcome Dr. Fleck.
Appreciate everybody having me here today. Appreciate everyone's service here, supporting our Georgia physicians. And if y'all need anything, we're downstairs, and y'all have a great day.
We have a special guest with us today. We'd like to recognize the Secretary to read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 783 by Senators Rett of the 33rd and Brass of the 6th. A resolution recognizing Director General Jared Wynn and for other purposes. Whereas Director General Jared Wynn is the current head of Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Atlanta, and whereas Georgia's relationship with Taiwan is centered on trade, investment, education, and cultural exchange, and the state engages Taiwan through economic development missions, business investment, university partnerships, and cultural programs, and whereas Director General Jared Wynn is dedicated to deepening partnerships, fostering mutual understanding, and creating new opportunities for exchange between Taiwan and the southeastern United States. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and commend Director General Jared Wynn for his efficient, effective, unselfish, and dedicated public service to the state of Georgia, and extend the most sincere best wishes for continued health and happiness. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. I'd like to call upon the senator from the 33rd District for purpose of introducing our special guest.
Thank you, Mr. President, my fellow senators, colleagues, friends, and y'all. Mr. President, I rise today with great pride as co-chair along with the senator from the 6th of the Taiwan Caucus. It is my pleasure to introduce Director General Jared Lean of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Atlanta. Director General Ling currently leads the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Atlanta, which represents Taiwan's interests across 6 southeastern states, including the great state of Georgia. In this role, he has worked diligently to strengthen the relationship between Georgia and Taiwan through expanded trade investments, educational partnerships, and cultural exchange. Today, we are proud to recognize Director General Ling for his service and the positive impact he has made in our state. Mr. President, I ask that the Senate join me in welcoming and recognizing Director General Jared Ling.
President Pro Tempore, Taiwan Caucus Co-Chair Senator Redd and Senator Bress, leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a profound honor for me to stand before you today on behalf of Taiwan. And thank you for the resolution for recognizing me as your trusted partner. I have an amazing team standing behind me and all working for a greater Georgia-Taiwan relationship. And this resolution is all shared by our small office of 20 people. And this year, 2026, carries special significance. The United States marks the 250th anniversary of independence, and Taiwan marks 30 years since our first direct presidential election in 1996. And this milestone reminds us of a simple truth: sovereignty resides in the people. Today, I would like to make 2 points. First, Taiwan's growing economic partnership with the United States. And second, Georgia's role as a key partner in our relationship. Let me begin with some exciting news. Last year, U.S. returned as Taiwan's largest trading partner in 20 years. And Taiwan rose from the 7th to the 4th largest trading partner for the United States worldwide. And we want to thank the American friends for your confidence in the MIT products, meaning made in Taiwan products. And Taiwan is proud to be a reliable partner in the Indo-Pacific. In a world filled with uncertainty, Taiwan has shown that resilience, innovation, and responsible leadership matter. And as global supply chains, emerging technologies, and economic security become more important than ever, partnerships between Taiwan and the U.S. has become not only closer, but more strategic. A bilateral trade deal signed 1 month ago adds even greater momentum. Under this framework, Taiwanese companies plan to invest $250 billion in the U.S. And for that, Taiwan government will provide up to $250 billion in credit guarantee to support business expansion. And these investments will help create high-paying jobs and strengthen cooperation in critical technologies. So within that broader U.S.-Taiwan relationship, I want to speak about Georgia standing out as a state of enormous importance. With this outstanding logistic network, strong manufacturing base, and a global connectivity, Georgia is an ideal partner for Taiwan. And as Taiwanese companies evaluate locations across the U.S. for new facilities and industrial clusters, states that build trust and engage early will have a clear advantage. So I would respectfully encourage Georgia to continue telling your stories directly to Taiwan's industries by sending a Georgia trade and investment delegation to visit Taiwan soon. Such a visit will give Georgian leaders direct access to Taiwan's business decision makers. On-the-ground presence matters and relationships matter. Georgia and Taiwan may be far apart geographically, but we are close in spirit. Hardworking, innovation, outward-looking, and committed to freedom. Taiwan stands ready to deepen this partnership, and TECO in Atlanta looks forward to working closely with you all to build a strong future together. So thank you for your friendship, your support, and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This way and take a picture.
We have more special guests with us today. We'd like to recognize the Secretary to read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 900 by Senators Anderson of the 43rd and others, a resolution commending Finola Culbreth and for other purposes. Whereas Finola Culbreth, a native of Atlanta, Georgia, was born on September 24, 1946 at Grady Hospital. Whereas although she entered the workforce at a time of limited opportunities for African Americans, she became among the first black employees hired by Southern Bell Telephone and Telegraph Company. And whereas she later achieved a historic milestone when she was hired by Delta Airlines as one of the company's first black stewardesses, standing as the sole black member in her class of 50 flight attendants. And whereas Finola Culbreth dedicated 36 years of exemplary service to Delta Airlines, building a distinguished career defined by perseverance, professionalism, and barrier-breaking achievement before retiring in 2001. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and commend Finola Culbreth for her many magnificent achievements and decades of groundbreaking career service, as well as extend the most sincere best wishes for continued health and happiness. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. I'd like to call upon the senator from the 43rd for the purpose of introducing our special guest.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, colleagues. It is my honor to celebrate Women's History Month. As we know, every day women make history, Black History Month. We just celebrated, but we celebrated again today. And I'm honored to recognize Ms. Finola Culbreth. She's not just an Atlanta native, she's a Grady baby. An HBCU grad at the time Clark College, now Clark Atlanta University. Her journey began, as you heard, at Bell South as the first black, which is now, Southern Bell. That's what it was, Southern Bell. Turned Bell South, now AT&T. She found so much love in her home city with major corporations that she dedicated 36 years of her life to Delta Airlines as one of the first black stewardesses. Talk about real Southern girl, a true Atlanta native. I'm proud to honor Ms. Finola Culbreth.
Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone. I'd like, first of all, to give praise and honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who is the head of my life and responsible for me being here today and all those things that happened so many years ago, over 60 years ago. I'd also like to introduce my niece, Tamara Bolden, and my brother, James Culbreth. I'd also like to give thanks to my parents, James and Naomi Culbreth, who were responsible for giving me permission to become a flight attendant. I'd never been on an airplane when I started flying. My observation flight was my first flight. But I love Atlanta. Like I said, I'm a Grady baby, and I love being a flight attendant. I flew for 36 years. I did domestic as well as international flying. And I've been retired for 25 years. I do miss the travel. I missed a lot of my friends, but I wanted to thank all of you Senator Anderson, and all of the members of the chamber for inviting us here today and presenting me with this beautiful, wonderful honor that I appreciate so very much. Thank you.
Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Senator from the 15th, what purpose do you rise? You need to excuse somebody?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just simply want to ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 7th, please.
Without objection, the senator from the 7th is excused. Chair recognizes the senator from the 9th for a point of personal privilege.
Signal when I get up here. All right. Ooh, this takes up a lot of space here. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to bring to your attention again something that I brought to your attention about a week ago. I'm losing track of time. But I will, gas prices soar in Georgia following Israeli strikes on Iranian oil. This was just today in the headlines. Gas prices rising across Georgia as Middle East tensions push oil prices past $100 today. This was just for today. And as I brought to your attention a week ago, Atlanta gas prices rise amid Iran conflict, and they'll likely rise even more. This was about a week or 2 weeks ago. The week before that, as soon as this useless war started, oil prices surge, stock futures fall. And the markets right now, folks, are trying to adjust. They can't even predict how much it's going to fall anymore. So this rise, I rise today to address this immediate financial strain that Georgia families are facing right now. The AJC reports a startling jump in Metro Atlanta gas prices as markets react to the escalating Middle East conflicts. And these are all because of the reckless decisions by the Trump administration and Republicans who continue to greenlight this war with no plan, no goal, and no exit strategy. Every spike at the pump is draining millions from our households and our budgets. This was an escalation overseas. It was an escalation of choice. We didn't have to be here. We didn't have to be involved in this war, not war, as they keep calling us, that had no congressional oversight. And it is costing us billions daily, that same billions that we could be using to pay for health care for folks. Our attention right now should be taking care of people right here at home in the United States, protecting household budgets, stabilizing costs, and ensuring families can afford basic necessities. Georgians should not be bearing the cost of the financial fallout of poorly planned national policies. I'm asking today of Governor Kemp, and we have done this before, to suspend the state gas tax again so that we can give families immediate relief as prices continue to surge, and they will continue to surge as long as this war keeps going on. And I need my colleagues, because I know y'all coming, stop blaming Biden. Last I checked, Biden was not president. Not only that, President Trump promised to lower costs here in the United States and improve our economy. Name me one policy where he has done that. Instead, we are wrapped up in a war that is costing us billions. He's had 2 years, we're on his second year now, to make improvements. Where's that improvement? I'll wait. We're waiting. I call on swift action to protect our households, our budgets, and keep our focus where it should belong, right here in the people of Georgia and the United States. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd, senator from the 26th. Do you want to speak from the well? All right, I'll get to you in just a second. It's the other button, Senator. Senator from the 41st is recognized for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today on your desk, you see a handout with 6 pictures on it. Pictures of 6 children in our state who were killed from gunshot wounds. 3-year-old Kyron Zarko from Athens was watching TV on the couch with his brother when he was killed by gunfire piercing the walls of his home. 23-month-old Marcus Ball, sitting in the arms of his teenage sister along with his 1-year-old baby sister, shot through the walls of his bedroom in Peach County. In Spalding County, 11-year-old Asia Love Jones was killed by a bullet through her window that was meant for someone else. Another 3-year-old, Bryson Murray from Augusta, killed in his sleep by bullets sprayed into his bedroom. In Atlanta, 12-year-old Jalen Greggs, caught in the crossfire while playing in his front yard. And in my own DeKalb County, Lavari Aruni, a 5-year-old boy killed just 5 days after Christmas from gunshots fired into his home. In every corner of Georgia, families are experiencing the most soul-crushing tragedies of their lives. Grieving parents, grieving siblings, sitting in indescribable pain, the pain of having lost their beautiful child to stray bullets. There are countless stories of Georgians getting caught up in crossfire, suffering the effects of gun violence, fearing for their lives and for their family's safety. But as we are well aware, this body struggles to attempt to manage this with gun safety measures or safe storage or anything like that. So instead, I propose a bill this session that would, at the very least, allow survivors of residential gun violence to terminate their leases without fear of penalty from their landlords. Georgians who have had a loved one shot or they themselves have been shot in their homes deserve to be able to move quickly to safety, just like survivors of domestic violence and stalking and human trafficking are allowed to do. But instead of having a real discussion about real solutions to help these Georgians, this body turned its back on having a hard conversation. Instead of allowing thoughtful deliberation that this legislation deserves, well, Senate Republicans cowed to the will and the influence of landlords who are more worried about the bottom line than about helping families escape trauma. So I am left to ask, what are we doing here? Why are we denying even one small step towards safety for these children? Why are we relegating life-altering legislation to a few hasty glances at a bill in committee hearings with no time for public comment, but plenty of space?
Minority Leader, your time has expired. If you'd close it out, please.
I will. With no time for public testimony, but plenty of space allowed for landlords to air their grievances. Committee hearings undermined by the influence of corporate lobbying. So today we pause again to acknowledge the lives of these children who've been lost. And I ask that we work together to ensure their safety, the safety of all children in the future. Thank you.
Senator from the 14th, what purpose do you rise? All right, well, it's the other button. And you're in the queue. Okay, you're in the queue now. Very good. Chair recognizes the senator from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President. As y'all know, my wife, Kara, is a CTAE director at Clinch County High School down in South Georgia. Of course, CTAE stands for Career Technical Agricultural Education. And they do some amazing work in this state. 98.45% of all CTAE students graduate. 710,000 middle and high school students participated in CTAE courses and pathways. 23,900 employers partnered with 35,283 work-based learning students. $144 million in wages was earned by work-based learning students. 206,211 students participated in career and technical student organizations. They really do great work in this state, but Mr. President, my wife actually sent me what I'm supposed to say today, and I can't go home if I don't repeat it. So here it is. Today I rise to recognize the impact of career technical and agricultural education, CTAE, across the state of Georgia. CTAE programs provide students with hands-on learning experiences that prepare them for successful careers in fields such as agriculture, healthcare, construction, business, computer science, and culinary arts. These programs connect classroom learning with real-world skills that strengthen Georgia's workforce and support our state's growing economy. CTAE also develops leadership through student organizations such as FFA, Skills USA, DECA, FBLA, FCCLA, HOSA, and TSA, where students gain valuable experience that prepares them for success beyond the classroom. Mr. President, we are especially honored today to have CTAE educators with us in the gallery. These teachers dedicate their time and talent to helping students discover their potential, develop real-world skills, and prepare for bright futures. Members of the Senate, please join me in recognizing the outstanding work of Georgia's CTAE programs and the educators who make them possible. Y'all stand and be recognized, if you will. Thank y'all. All right, Kara. I hope I made you proud, Kara. I love you. Mr. President, I yield the will.
I recognize the senator from the 49th for appointed personal privilege. Let's give the senator from the 49th our attention, and the doorkeepers will secure the chamber.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I come to you, colleagues, with a heavy heart to honor the life of a teacher, Mr. Jason Hughes, a beloved teacher at North Hall High School who lost his life Friday night, tragically. Jason was more than a teacher. He was a Christian, a husband, a father, a mentor, and a role model with a steady presence in the lives of students. Saturday, Shelley told Cohen about his teacher passing away, and we made the fatal mistake of letting Cohen have a Instagram account. He started seeing this stuff on there, and it was, it was tragic what happened. I'm sure you guys have seen it on the news. And Cohen asked me later on that day, he asked me who was going to teach the the Bible to the football team now. So in the classroom, he served as a math teacher. He also served as an advisor for Fellowship of Christian Athletes, helping students growing up in leadership and character and faith. He also led a program called NG3 at North Hall. What that is, it's a mentoring program that pairs students with adult leaders in the community who meet regularly to encourage character, leadership, and service to others. Through NG3 and FCA, he helps students navigate the most important lessons of life: how to lead, how to serve, and how to care for one another. His loss comes in the wake of a decades-long prank tradition leading up to prom that had been a part of student culture for many years at the school. Today, our hearts are with the students of North Hall High School who are mourning a teacher many considered their favorite. In moments like this, a community feels grief, heartbreak, and confusion all at once. Let us pray for the Hughes family, his colleagues, and the students' lives that he shaped. And let us pray for wisdom, grace, and healing for our entire community, trying to make sense of an unimaginable tragedy. May we remember Jason Hughes for what mattered most, a life spent investing in young people and helping them become the best versions of themselves. Mr. President, I would ask for a brief moment of silence in honoring the life of Jason Hughes.
Please join in a moment of silence.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 26th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again. I've had brain surgery, open heart surgery, and my orthopedic says that I've got bone on bone. Now, my insurance payments to the state health benefit have never been late. Never been late in 51 years. They refuse for me to get an injection in the knee, which is like grease, to keep me from laying on the table. I sent a letter to the chairman from Savannah, and they refused to even answer him. So I call that complete arrogance by the state health benefit folks. Now I'm asking that they be investigated. Who sets up the panel? Who decides what medical procedures you get under state health benefit? Something is wrong with the folks over there who said, I got to lay on the table and get 2 knee replacements, which are about $75,000 a piece. When the only thing I want to do is get the shot in my knees that gives me a great deal of comfort when walking. I like to hunt, I like to fish, but I can't go in the woods if I can't walk out. So I'm asking that they are investigated, who making the decisions, who's the panel. And I'm not the only one in here who has these problems, but others have not said anything to you about it. But something is wrong when the state health benefit is so arrogant that they won't even respond to the chairman of the committee. So this year, when I campaign, I'm going to campaign on state health benefit, the benefits that we get that we pay for. With that, Mr. President, I yield away.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 21st for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate colleagues, friends, and fellow Georgians, as we celebrate Women's History Month, we take the time to recognize the courage, resilience, and leadership of women whose lives changed the course of history. Today, I rise to honor one of the most daring pioneers of the 20th century, Amelia Earhart. Born in 1897, Amelia Earhart came of age at a time when opportunities for women were limited and societal expectations were rigid. Yet from an early age, she refused to accept those limits. You know, she once said, the most effective way to do it is just to do it. And she lived by those words. In 1932, Earhart became the first woman and only the second person after Charles Lindbergh to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. That achievement alone would have secured her place in history. But for Amelia Earhart, breaking one barrier was never enough. She set numerous aviation records, helped found the 99s, an organization supporting women pilots, and used her growing fame not for personal glory, but to advocate for greater opportunities for women in science, engineering, and aviation. At a time when many doubted a woman's ability to compete in technical fields, she stood confidently in the cockpit of her aircraft and proved them wrong, not with speeches, but with action. Her final flight in 1937, an ambitious attempt to circumnavigate the globe, ended in mystery over the Pacific Ocean. Though her disappearance captured the world's attention, her legacy is not defined by how her journey ended, but by how boldly she lived. Amelia Earhart represents something larger than aviation. She represents possibility. She represents courage in the face of doubt. She represents the spirit of innovation and determination that defines America at its best. During Women's History Month, we remember that progress does not happen by accident. It happens because individuals, often against great odds, chose to challenge the status quo. They chose to lead. They chose to fly into uncharted skies. For young women across Georgia and across this nation, Amelia Earhart's life continues to send a powerful message. Your dreams are not limited by expectations. Your ambition is not confined by tradition. The horizon is not a boundary, it's an invitation. May we honor her not only by remembering her achievements, but by ensuring that every girl who looks up at the sky knows there is no field beyond her reach. Thank you. Mr. President, I yield the will.
I recognize the senator from the 29th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I got here today to do the normal job that I'm elected to do, and while I was in a caucus meeting, my wife called me. And my wife's very familiar with my schedule, so my first concern was that something was wrong. So I went and took her call, sitting in caucus, and she said, you need to step out. And so I knew it was something serious. And of course, my first thought went to my 6-year-old daughter and my 33-year-old daughter, my 31-year-old son, or something really important. But it wasn't them. What it was my dad's little brother, Alcus Robertson. Alcus Curtis Robertson was my dad's little brother, only in age. He was a lot bigger than my dad. Served in the United States Army during the Vietnam era. Served very well till he retired. My Aunt Susan also served until she retired. And Uncle Alcus was always somebody I looked up to, like I looked up to everybody in our military. And I've got a picture on the wall at my home of my great uncle, Alto Cobb, who died in France as part of the United States Army when he was 21. And my Uncle Alcus served a lot overseas, as did my Uncle Alto. And so during this time, what I think about is, what if we would have gotten into the war with Germany quicker? how many lives would we have saved then? If we'd have dealt with Iran quicker, how many lives would we have saved then? If we'd have partnered with Israel quicker, how many lives would we have saved then? Prior to October 7th, when small children were pushed into ovens and mothers' and fathers' throats were cut. I really don't know. But you know what? When I'm at the gas pump putting gas in my vehicle, I'm not complaining about gas prices. I'm knowing that there are men and women in uniform around this world fighting for the lives of people that I'll never meet. But they were born warriors. They will live as warriors, and possibly they will die as warriors, because some people on this planet are born to be warriors, whether it's in the military or in public safety. So those who don't understand it, feel free to grab your knitting needles and your popcorn and go sit in the stands and let the people that were born to fight and born to save lives do their job. Thank you, Uncle Alcus. I'll miss you for the rest of my life. With that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the I'm going to do the senator from the 2nd for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. This morning, colleagues, I rise because it is Scout Day at the Capitol. I have been Scout in my lifetime for over 30 years. My grandmother signed me up as a dictator and told me that's what I was going to do. And we've got actually one of our scouting professionals from the Coastal Georgia Council here with us today in the gallery. It's Mr. Alan Hughes, and I just want to recognize him today for all he does in recruiting kids and signing them up, a job I've done for 15 years and counting. So with that, Mr. President, it's Scouts Day at the Capitol. Take pictures with your local scouts. We're excited to have them here with us today, and I yield the well.
I recognize the senator from the 14th for a point of personal privilege. And then we're going to probably let the Dean of the Senate close us out. Not now, but after, maybe you'll be the last one.
Thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing me and for the remedial lesson on button pressing in the Senate. Some people have all the luck. Some people have all the luck. Actually, it just looks like they have all the luck from the outside. In reality, some people are incredibly hard workers who exercise tremendous finesse in their politics and passing legislation, forming robust relationships with members of both parties, and in general bringing a lot of light and joy to those around them. And I'm describing none other than the senator from the 38th, whose birthday is today. Can you please join me in wishing a happy birthday to the senator from the 38th? Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not jealous at all. I yield the well.
All right. We saved the best for last. The Dean of the Senate, senator from the 15th, for a point of personal privilege.
Mr. President and members of the Senate, I rise to observe and celebrate once again and make sure we never forget those men and women who fought in the Vietnam War. And specifically, bring your attention back to yesterday, March 8th, 1965 was Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. But at the same time and correspondingly on the combat area, March 8th, 1965 was the day that elements of the 9th Marines, 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines, sent the first combat Marines into Vietnam. And they stayed there until the war was over, coming in and out like myself, members of the Army, Marines, Air Force, all of us. But I want to commend the gentleman in the back, our Sergeant at Arms right here also, who served. Let's give him a big round of applause right there. Served Vietnam. And I do this every day, every chance I can. I do it every day too. I do it every chance I can, every year in the chamber, because I think we should never forget the men and women who fought for our country, and especially the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was the first time that Marines and sailors and airmen and sailors came back home to these shores and were ignored or even put down by our own members here in the citizenry of our country. When I got back from Vietnam the last time, I was told to take your uniform off and don't wear it, because you would be met with hostility out in San Francisco after I landed at Treasure Island the last time. March 865, remember that date, and 58,000 people ultimately died in that war. Operation Hasty, Jack Stay, Cam Lo, Vietnam, all of those places in Vietnam should be etched into a lot of people's memory who visited that country, and they'll never forget the rice paddies and the bullets and the whole atmosphere of war. You talk about war as hell, but it never goes away with some of our people who paid the price. I mean, they left they are there, they came back home physically, but their minds are not with them anymore. Please remember that. March 865, you had Bloody Sunday, but our war was even more bloody. People living here in the Atlanta area right now, Clarence Jenkins lives right here in Atlanta. He was a machine gunner, M60 machine gunner in the Vietnam War. Al Hampton from Ohio, Steve Pepe, who deceased recently, Terry Houghton of Canada, and Clarence Whitehead, who was a former police officer right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Remember those names, folks, because they're worthy. God bless you. I really yield the well, Mr. President. Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolutions on the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the resolutions on the consent calendar are adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw and commit? Chair recognizes the senator from the 45th for a motion.
President, I move that the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 179, amended by Amendment 1.
Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill number 179 by Senators Dixon of the 45th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to elementary and secondary education, so as to require that the academic and disciplinary records of each transferring student shall be provided by such student's previous school to the receiving school within 5 days. To reduce the number of days by which a parent or guardian of a transferring student shall receive copies of such records. To provide for evidence-based youth violence prevention training programs, to provide for student violence prevention clubs, to provide for local policies for anonymous reporting, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the House offers the following substitute to SB 179. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to elementary and secondary education, so as to provide that beginning in the 2031 to 2032 school year, a computer science course shall be high school graduation requirement, to provide for certain computer science courses to be substituted for units of credit graduation requirements in certain other subject areas, to provide for such exception, to revise legislative findings, to increase the allowable charge per student per semester for each Georgia virtual school course from $250 to $350, to include certain online schools in the definition of private school, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senator Dixon of the 45th offers the following Amendment 1. Amend the House Committee on Education substitute to SB 179 by inserting after $350 on line 7 the following. To require local school systems to allow the representatives of certain organizations to speak with students during school hours, to require certain organizations to provide notice, to require local school superintendents to provide approval of certain activities by certain organizations during school hours, to require local school superintendents to provide written explanation for denial of certain activities, to provide for legislative intent, to provide for a definition. By inserting between lines 163 and 164 the following, said chapter is further amended by adding a new code section to read as follows. And for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
I recognize the senator from the 45th to speak to his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate colleagues, if you'll remember, if I can take you back to last year, I'd presented Senate Bill 179. It was a school safety bill. It had to do with reporting of students' transcripts when they transferred schools. That was stripped out of 179. It was added into Leader Rana Vitarte's school safety bill, making Ricky and Alyssa's law. In the House, Representative Ballard, she added language to 179 that would require that computer science be taught as a core class, not an elective, by the year of 2031-2032 school year. And then coming to the amendment that I added today, this language has to do with civics organizations, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the Boys and Girls Club of America, and then also there's the Future Farmers of America, the American Legion, and the Red Cross and other similar organizations. This would allow them access to schools to teach civics, to promote their organization. It would not force them to have access. It would give a 30-day notice where they would try to schedule that with the school. If the school's unable to schedule it, then they can make alternate times to schedule that meeting. With that, Mr. President, be happy to answer any questions, or I'll yield the well.
Do have a question. Recognize the senator from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, you yield?
I do.
Senator, Section 3 of the underlying bill, not your amendment, was that in the legislation that passed our chamber last year? It may have been. I don't know. I've got a specific question about it.
I believe it was. What line was that again? I'm sorry.
So the underlying bill?
Yeah.
LC 492411S?
Yep.
Section 3. In it, it purports to change the definition of private school. I'm just wondering what the purpose is. It looks like it makes a virtual school a private school. What is the effect of that? Is there some type of funding effect or notice effect or requirements? I don't know.
They did have in that bill also, like the cost of that virtual school would go up, I believe, from $250 to $350.
Right. I see that in Section 2. I didn't know if you knew anything more about Section 3. That's all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd have to ask the representative on the intent. Yes, sir.
I don't see any other questions, Senator.
I'll yield well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the motion? The senator from the 45th has moved that the Senate agree as amended to the House substitute to Senate Bill 179. All those in favor of the motion by the senator from the 45th will vote yea. All opposed will vote nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the motion to agree to the House substitute as amended, the yeas are 48 and the nays are 3. This motion, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 8th for a motion. Chair recognizes the senator from the 8th for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to Senate Rule 7-1.10B, I give notice that on the next legislative day, I intend to move that this Senate consider House action on SB 59.
Senator has given notice. Thank you. Read the caption.
Senate Bill 59 by Senator Watson of the 11th and others, a bill to be entitled, an act to amend Code Section 48-5-7.4 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to the preferential assessment of bona fide conservation use property and bona fide residential transition property, so as to remove a limitation on leased properties as to certain entities, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Thank you, Senator, for the notice. Chair recognizes the senator from the 31st.
Mr. President, it's moved that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, March 10th.
Majority Leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, March 10th. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it, and the Senate is adjourned. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee will meet upon adjournment of the Senate in room 450 CAP. The Finance Committee will meet at 3 p.m. in Mezzanine 1, and the Judiciary Committee will meet at 4 p.m. in room 307 CLOB. Mr. President, that completes the order.
I recognize the senator from the 24th for an announcement. Senator from the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your desk today you have, if you want to go fishing this week, make sure you sign up. We're going to have a great evening there going fishing on March the 11th. And also, on the other side of the page, you see we're doing a fundraiser this year for sportsmen, and we are trying to raise some money to get a trailer for the disabled machines, wheelchairs that can take the people out and see the wildlife and go hunting. Thank you for your support.
All right, Senators, let's quit wishing and let's go fishing. Y'all have a great afternoon.